let me tell you what kids need. First of all, kids need our attention. They need our attention. Why do they need our attention? They need face-to-face time, not just texts. Why? Because kids develop their identity by watching you. You see, kids are profoundly egocentric. You know that, right? And when you walk into a room and your 5-year-old daughter is sitting there, she watches you. And within 15 seconds, dads, your daughter's going to figure out a few things about you. Are you in a good mood or are you in a bad mood? Right? If you're in a good mood, she's going to stay around. If you're in a bad mood, she's going to leave the room. And the reason she's going to do that is not because she cares about you or worrying about you. She cares about herself. She wants you to be in a good mood so life is okay. Right? And as our kids grow older, they read us for messages about who they are. Right? And you communicate to your kids, I like you. I like being with you. I enjoy your company. I want to hear what you have to say, right? If you, and when your kids figure out what you think about them, mom thinks I'm smart. Mom likes listening to me, so I must have some good things to say. So maybe other people want to listen to me. Mom believes that I was put here for a reason because she told me that God didn't make a mistake when I came. And she told me that God, that she prays to, made me for some purpose. And I don't know what that is, and she doesn't know it, but I know she prays for me to figure that out. So my mom thinks that I have value. So your kids read you to pick up clues about who they are, and then they internalize those clues and those cues, and they internalize you. They can't do that on a soccer field, and they can't do that in a classroom. They can only do that by being with you. And here's my fear as this next generation of kids grows up and their identity formation. How are they going to form a solid identity when they're spending maybe 15, 20 minutes of contact, eye-to-eye contact with mom or dad a day because they're on the computer all the time? They can't. They can't. How are they going to learn what it's like to be loved, right? They need our attention, our face-to-face time, and standing on the side of a soccer field clapping for them doesn't count. It counts because your kid knows you're interested and you're encouraging them, right? And by the way, encourage them when they miss the field goal. Please give them a hug when they screw up or the coach didn't play them, right? Please take them out for ice cream after that, because that's a far more important lesson than them scoring the winning goal for the team. What they're learning when they get your attention on the side of a soccer field or a football field, or when you tell them good job and they just got straight A's, is they learn that they get attention from you if they perform well. Your kids don't want that. They want your attention because they're there. Right? Do you know what hurting kids tell me all the time, girls who cut? Hurting kids tell me the simplest, easiest things. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody cares that I'm in the room. How simple is it to give your kid attention and to communicate to them, I see you, I like what I see, I want to hear you. I'm going to stop what I'm doing. Your kids need affection. You want to raise your daughter's self-esteem. Do you know what studies say is the #1 way to raise a girl's self-esteem? It isn't by signing her up for piano or getting her really good at gymnastics or getting her good grades. The #1 way to raise a girl's self-esteem is for her father to give her physical affection. That's it. How easy is that? Well, if you're a dad and you've got a 15-year-old and you've tried to hug her recently, you know it's hard because she's kind of like hugging a dead porcupine. It's got rigor mortis, right? And everything in her body says, get away, get away, get away. What she's saying to you has nothing to do with you. It's saying to you, I just don't like who I am, Dad. Dad, do you like me anyway? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And you don't like me hugging you again, but guess what? I'm going to try again tomorrow. And if you don't want it tomorrow, I'm going to try next week. And I'm going to try a couple weeks after that. Ever read The Runaway Bunny? Your mother's read The Runaway Bunny when your kids are little? The kid says, I don't like you, Mom, I'm going to run away. And Mom says, well, it's okay, you can run away and I'm going to chase you. No, I'm going to go to the garden and I'm going to become a flower. If you become a flower, then I'm going to become a gardener, so I will be with you. Okay, then I'm going to run away and I'm going to be a fish in the sea. That's okay, then I'll be a boat. I'm going to chase you. Just like your 2 and 3 and 4-year-old kids, you need to chase them with your affection. You need to honor that. You don't want to hug your 17-year-old son in front of his locker at school. That's disgusting. But what you can do is go in his room at night and sit on the edge of his bed. And you talk to him. And you pat his shoulder. How was your day? Never ask him how his day was when he walks in the door. Because there's a syndrome that's not been described. And I used to tell my kids it was school bus syndrome. That half hour right after school, don't talk to your kids. Unless you want just a lot of bad posturing, because it can be very ugly. But at the end of the day, you talk to them and you touch them and you touch them. And if you're dads, you've got to touch your sons. You see, think about what drives you to do what you do in your work, men and women. You are driven not because of what your parents did for you. You're driven to do what you do now because of who your parents were to you and what they communicated to you about who you were. That's the good stuff. You see, affection and attention and giving that to our kids is the good stuff. And your kids need admiration. They don't need you to clap when they get straight A's or when they get a B and go, well, that's good, but let's try for an A that time. That's performance stuff. Your kid needs to know from you, you admire him and her or her because he's your son. That's it. And if he did nothing more than sit in a closet the rest of his life, that would not shake your love for him. Isn't that what you want from your spouse? Is that when I've had the worst day of my life and I'm ready to cash it in, you come in and say, you know what? No matter what, I adore you. I want you. Don't do it. You don't need to drink. You don't need to take drugs. Right? Because I'm crazy about you, because you're my wife. If you want that as an adult, how much more does your teenager or your 5-year-old want that? That's what he or she wants, not soccer and shoes and grades and college. That's all okay. But they want the deep stuff. They want the good stuff.